Mishnah Yomi is now in Sanhedrin chapter 7, Mishnayot Het Tet, today on the subject of which crimes get a skila execution. Here's Mishnah 8, Hamacholol et Shabbat. Somebody desecrates the Sabbath, b'devar shechayvin al zadono koret, for a sin that they would be punished with koret, that's a spiritual excision. And that's if it's done zodon, done on purpose, val shigegato chatat. And something that's done b'shogeg, shigegato means by mistake. Then, for instance, they didn't know that this particular malacha, this particular activity was forbidden, or they didn't remember that that day was Sabbath, they thought it was Sunday. They'd be liable for a chatat, a sin offering at the temple. So if he does those same level activities, that's basically the 39 malachot and their toldot, their subcategories, then if this was done on purpose in the presence of two witnesses, and again the witnesses warned the perpetrator, hey, don't water that plant, for example, on Shabbat, because that's biblically forbidden and you could get skila. And he says, I know I'm going to water this plant, even though I'm chayiv skila, and he goes and waters the plant. He knows it's Shabbat, he knows it's forbidden, he's been warned. Then the Beit Din, the court, could put him to death with skila for his chilul Shabbat. The Mishnah adds another skila level transgression, hamakolel aviv ve'imo. Someone curses his or her father or mother. Eino chayiv ad sheyekalalem b'shem. They're not actually liable to death unless they curse them using a shem, using one of the names of God. Now, in the Gemara, they get into this, and it's really the official names of God. The names we're not allowed to erase, the names that we don't say in the bathroom. Those are considered a curse that's serious enough to warrant the penalty of skila, if done against the parents. But kilalam bekinui, if the child cursed a parent with a nickname could be something like Rahum or Hanun or Shalom, the names that we associate with God, but not his real names. Rabbi Meir Mechai. Rabbi Meir says that's still really bad and needs a skila. Chachamim potrim. The sages say they are not liable to the skila. Now on to Mishnah Tet, Mishnah 9, a ba'al nara merasa. A young man, or even an old man, who lives with a young woman who has had erusin. She's me'orasa, meaning she had erusin, the first stage of Jewish marriage. Eino chayev, he's not liable for skila. Ajite nara, she has to be a young woman, not a more mature woman. Betula, a virgin. Me'orasa, she's had erusin, she's had the first stage of Jewish marriage. V'hi beveit aviha, and she also has to be living in her father's home at the time. Now, of course, if she's a married woman, she's had erusin, which is the first stage of marriage, but she's actually a married woman, then even if she's older than a nara, and even if she wasn't a betula, and even if she was no longer living in her parents' house, for instance, she'd already started traveling to the husband's house, like Rivka traveled with Eliezer to go marry Yitzhak, then, of course, there's still a death penalty for being with a married woman, but that would be a chenek instead of skila. This nara me'orasa beveit aviha is dafka skila. It's, skila is considered a bit worse, a bit more severe, because this is just really a heinous thing to do. But of course, any adultery would carry a death penalty. The Mishnah adds a detail, ba'ulei hashnayim. What if there were two men, neither of them were the one who had done erusin and married this young woman, but two men were involved in violating this young woman. Harishan beskila, we'd give skila to the first one, because she was a betula at the time, vasheni, but the second guy, she was no longer betula, bechenek. We would kill him anyway, but with a chenek, not with a skila. Yishar kochachem, tizku the mitzvot.